Hi, everybody. It's Sarah Draper here with MADD Nebraska, and I am here to talk to you more about the power of youth. The Power of Youth is MADD's program that works to make a difference in the lives of students and to give you all the power to make the choice to not use alcohol until 21 and to not use drugs at all. So, we are going to chat through a few different things today, but I want to get started with something super simple. I want to go ahead and introduce myself and introduce you all to the MADD mission. If you haven't met with MADD before, if you haven't seen any of our other presentations we've done throughout FCCLA conferences, we want you to know a little bit about the work we do. So I am Sarah Draper. I am a program specialist out of the MADD Nebraska State Office. I've been with MADD almost 11 years now, and I have been working with MADD to make a difference in the lives of those impacted by impaired driving and in the lives of students to help you all have a safer future. We are going to jump into the Power of Youth program. If you've ever been introduced to this before, you'll see that it's changed a little bit because we are so excited just to touch base with you all where you are at and with what is going on in the world right now. So let's start a little bit with the MADD mission. So the MADD mission really is overall working to accomplish a future of no more victims. We are working to end drunk driving. We know we have the tools, we know we have the ability, we know we have a future where there is no more drunk driving on our roadways. We are working to help fight drugged driving. Drugged driving has been around for a long time, but we've really just started looking at it as an individual problem recently. With the passage of legalized marijuana in neighboring states, we knew we needed to approach this differently. So we are fighting this problem head on. We don't have all of the tools in place yet, which is why we worded a little bit differently. We hope eventually we will be ending all impaired driving, drunk and drugged. But right now, we need to figure out how we fight drug driving. What tools do law enforcement officers need? What resources does our community need to ultimately fight drug driving? We are working with all of our partners to learn more to fight this crime and to ultimately end this crime as well. We are working to prevent underage drinking. A lot of people wonder why we care so much about underage drinking. Well, it's because one, we know that there are so many risks when it comes to underage drinking. And two, we know by making the choice to wait until you're 21 to take that first drink helps you to have a better relationship with alcohol as you move forward and to be more likely not to get behind the wheel after drinking. We know that that is just one part in that ultimate goal of no more victims. And we are always here to support the victims of this all of these violent crimes. So we will walk step by step with anyone who has been impacted by drunk driving, drug driving, or underage drinking in any way. We know that there are so many ways you can be impacted, and we know that lives are changed forever when that decision is made. We are here to walk people through that. We are here to support people, and we are here to help connect people with a family of people who care and with resources to help them survive and to move forward after in the aftermath of a crash. We talk a lot about it being more than getting behind the wheel. So I touched a little bit about the fact that we care about underage drinking because there are risks involved with it. Most people assume we care because the risk is drinking and driving. And that is a huge risk. You see here that traffic deaths are 32% of underage drinking related deaths. So 32% of these deaths we could change, or we could lives we could save just by making sure nobody gets behind the wheel. But to us, that's not enough. We want to talk about more risks. We want to talk about all of the things that could happen. And we want people to know that the alcohol in and of itself presents the risk, not just getting behind the wheel. So taking away the keys doesn't take away all of the risks. We see that there are an increase in homicides, suicides, alcohol poisoning, drownings, fires, falls. There are so many dangers that come from underage drinking that are bigger than just getting behind the wheel. We think it's so important to have this conversation on so many levels so we can help you all make a better decision when it comes to making the choice to drink underage. Let's talk a little bit about addiction. So we know that a lot of people think that or have misconceptions about what addiction looks like and what drugs actually are. So alcohol, marijuana, opioids, they're all dangerous and they're all equally addictive drugs. We hear a lot of people assume that opioids are highly addictive because we hear a lot about them in the media because we hear that there's a crisis on our hands, and there is. There are problems surrounding opioid use and misuse, and that's very important that we talk about. But it doesn't discount the fact that marijuana is highly addictive and more accessible and highly dangerous. It doesn't change the fact that alcohol is still a drug. Anything that can alter your brain is considered a drug, and all drugs, legal or illegal, can alter the brain and essentially wire it for addiction. The chart I have on the bottom here actually shows that the earlier you take that first drink of alcohol, the higher your risk is for developing alcoholism later in life. If you've ever been around somebody who has struggled with alcoholism, you know that it is an incredibly hard demon to get over. You know that it alters your life, it alters your relationships, and it alters your future. And we want more than that for you. And we know those who love you want more than that for you. Let's talk a little bit about marijuana and the myths that go along with marijuana. We see a lot of them here, and we hear a lot of them when we're giving presentations in real life, which hopefully we get to do again soon and have these conversations with you. Know that we are here as a resource. If you have any questions at all at any time, you can reach out to us. I'll make sure to give my contact information at the end. But right now, I just want to touch on some of the myths that we hear a lot here at MADD when we give presentations. Um, One of the most popular ones is that marijuana is not addictive. We know that is very untrue. 1 in 11 adults who use marijuana become addicted. And the same thing plays into marijuana that does with alcohol, which is that the younger someone starts smoking or using marijuana, the higher their risk is for becoming addicted or having a misuse disorder later in life. 1 in 6 people who start smoking in their teens will become addictive. So it's highly addictive and it's highly dangerous. Um, like so many other things, it's not safe just because it's legal in some places. And we think that's a really important thing to talk about and a really big myth that we hear. Um, we also hear a lot that I study better high, I'm more focused. Well, unfortunately, the THC affects the part of the brain called the hippocampus. It's necessary for learning. So if you have impacted that center, that hippocampus, when you're studying, the effects last long after the high is gone. We actually see statistically that students who use are more likely to drop out. And then the biggest one, the one we are so concerned about, is the fact that we hear people tell us a lot, well, I drive it better when I'm high because I'm just more relaxed. Well, relaxation is actually slower response time, and slower response time when you're driving equals more dangerous driving. Um, just because you're more relaxed, it's the exact opposite. You are not a safer driver. In fact, you're a much more dangerous driver uh, getting behind the wheel. And the second thing we want to talk about with that is knowing that marijuana doesn't come in a one size fits all dosage. So there's a lot of different marijuana out there that has a lot of different effects on people. Not all of them even relax you anymore. Some of them have effects that are more like being on methamphetamines. Um, so it's really a dangerous choice in general to use marijuana, but it's even more dangerous to use it and get behind the wheel, especially with the perception that you're a safer driver or more relaxed driver. Overall, there are a lot of dangers and a lot of myths when it comes to cannabis in general. Um, And we are here to break down those myths and help you understand more. We know that because it is legal in neighboring states, because it's often talked about in our state for potentially being legal or the benefits that could be out there medicinally, that there's a lot of misperceptions and misconceptions about it. And so we want to help you understand more so that we can help you make the choice to remain drug free. It is not risk free to use, it is not safe to use just because it may seem so or it's presented in the media as that. So I feel like we really focus hard on the risks, right? So why do people make this choice? Why do people make the choice to drink or to use drugs? Um, After all the negatives, because we know you have heard the negatives before. I am not the first one presenting these to you. You've talked about it in health classes, you've talked about it in other classes. So you know some of the risks. So why do people ultimately make the choice? Um, we have some of the reasons that we normally hear and that we know of ourselves. And um, we can name these reasons. So, stress is a huge one. We know stress level for students is unlike any that students have ever gone through before, between just the expectations and what is coming next to living through a pandemic and having your whole life changed in front of you, having how you go to school change in front of you. These are extreme stressors. So we know that people make the choice to use substances to escape that stress. We know that peer pressure is a thing, that very direct peer pressure that, do you want to do this with me? Do you want to smoke? Do you want to get high? We know that is still um, a reason that people make the choice to use drugs or drink underage. Family history, home, environment, all of those things can be an influence on whether somebody makes the choice. And then, speaking of influence, what we see, our real and perceived influences are huge in making the choice. What you see in the media, what you see in social media, especially, and what it feels like everyone is doing. When you are constantly presented with the idea that everyone is drinking or everyone is doing drugs and it doesn't have any negative consequence, it makes it seem like it's an easy choice to make, right? The reality of the situation is people are facing consequences, and what you see in television shows is definitely not true to life of what the choices may lead to right here in our state. And then lack of communication about risk. This kind of goes back to the whole idea that just because something's legal doesn't mean that it's safe. So just because alcohol is legal, even for those over 21, doesn't mean it's completely safe for everyone to use. There are always risks associated with anything that can alter your brain. What would you add? There's always opportunity. And in fact, if we were here in person together, we would have this conversation. I would love to know why you think people make the choice to use substances. We know one of those things, and one of the things we really want to touch on today as we kind of shift this conversation into more of how do we empower ourselves to make better decisions is coping mechanisms. So we know that a lot of people make that choice to drink or use a substance as a coping mechanism, as a way to deal with that stress that is presented to you on a day to day basis. There are lots of unhealthy coping mechanisms, and I know you guys can recognize them. I know you can see them in things that you interact with every day. We know drinking, we know drug use. Those are really unhealthy coping mechanisms. But smoking, tobacco use, vaping, those are all unhealthy as well. Withdrawal and isolation can be an unhealthy coping mechanism. Controlling food intake, either too much or overeating, that can actually be a coping mechanism. And even anger, those people who just kind of seem to rage out of control for no reason, that might actually be their coping mechanism that they are using to try to deal with stress. Unhealthy coping mechanisms definitely seem like a great solution, right? When you're in them, when you're doing it, everything seems okay for a little bit. But in the long run, unhealthy coping mechanisms tend to lead to more stress, tend to lead to more things you need to cope with. The best example I can give is for an adult 21 plus, they decide to go out and drink too much to blow off steam after a really tough week at work, right? Um, they are dealing with financial stress. It's been a hard week. They're super stressed out. So they drink too much and make the choice to get behind the wheel. They get pulled over and get a DUI. That consequence that they now face for that DUI compounds their stress level because a DUI comes with more financial stress because it is costly. A DUI can lead to job loss or a change of job because you can't get to and from job because your car is impounded or you don't have a license or you have to make court dates. So that temporary relief of their coping mechanism in the long run led to more stress in life. So how do we switch that? We find some healthy coping mechanisms. Um, I list the ones that I use most often here, but I think there's a lot of these that all of us can find and use. Exercise, meditation, journaling, just writing it down. Learning a new skill can be a coping mechanism. It distracts your mind, it helps you figure out something new and helps you grow, and that can help build you up in the long run. Talking with friends, having a great support system is one of the best coping mechanisms out there. Finding your peers who are making the same choices that you are will build you up and will help you cope. Listening to music and ultimately counseling, knowing when you need to talk to somebody outside your own home or knowing when you really need that sounding board and when to make that choice of seeking more help. Those are all really healthy coping mechanisms. Once again, think through what some of your coping mechanisms are. Think through ones that I don't have listed here because this is definitely not an all encompassing list. I would say for a lot of students, team sports can be your coping mechanism. It is both exercise and it is having somebody lean on you. It is having that relationship of knowing you don't want to let people down. So you need to find an outlet that is healthy and that will help you move forward. So, I am here today to really one encourage you to be more empowered in your choices. I want you to have a plan for your future and a plan of what you will do when you're approached with a choice to drink underage or to do drugs, because it's generally not a question of if, but when that choice will be presented to you. So, by having a plan, you are ready to make the choice you want to make and you aren't making it on the fly. We are a lot more likely to make bad decisions if we are making them under pressure with a lot going on versus having our plan in our heart and in our mind in advance and moving forward with that. So today, I really encourage you to use a tool that I use a lot in my life and that we think is a fantastic tool here at MADD. It's you find your four. So find four for your future. What are your four things? So in your mind, name four reasons to say no to drugs or alcohol. They can be the very obvious things. They can be the risks that you don't want to face. Um, they could also be people, your family, your friends, the people that would be impacted if you made the choice to drink or do drugs. They can be your goals for your future. You know, if you are looking to be a doctor, will this impact your future? If you're looking to anything, how will this impact your future? Know your goals and know how that will move forward with them. And the next time you are faced with a choice, we want you to use your four reasons to take a pause. So I want you to have them in your mind, write them down, stick them on your bathroom mirror. Share them on our Instagram page. We have a fillable template on there for you. Um, find your four reasons of why you are not going to make the choice. They're personal, they're yours. Um, when you're presented with that choice, I want you to take that pause, take that beat, name those four reasons in your head, and use that time to help you make the better choice, help you make the choice that will keep you safe, that will keep your peers safe, and will help you move forward um, towards your future. We're going to talk a little bit now just about influences and influencers because it's going to lead us into a really fun project. So, how can you create the influence to help others make better choices? So, the first part, I would love for you to just think a little bit about what influence do you see, both positive and negative, in the media, in music, in social media. I'll name a few since I am presenting via video. So TikTok videos are one of the biggest ones we see. TikTok videos with drinking challenges on them are definitely a negative influence that you are being presented with, that we all are being presented with. There's a lot of songs out there, music that's glorifying drinking and driving, or doesn't recognize the fact that when you drink, you shouldn't drive. Um, we definitely see a lot, and I touched on earlier, television shows that show underage students drinking freely or using drugs with no consequences for their actions. So, what ones can you name? What can you think of that you see that are negative influences or positive influences? Now, as we move forward, it's time for you to become the influence. So you get the chance to create the influence, and we are so excited for you to get creative and create the influence for others, to be that positive influence in the world instead of a negative influence. So whoever is showing this video to you, most likely a teacher, has a project bank, and either your teacher has decided or you will get to decide as a group what project you would like to do. Our projects run the gamut, from creating a meme to creating an Instagram post to writing a whole PSA to creating a TikTok video. And you get to be the influence in this. So we want you to use whatever activity that has been selected and create the influence. You have a short instruction sheet and some guidance to really help you along the way. And you get to become the influence. How you share these is up to you, but we would love if you share them on our Instagram page, MADD Nebraska. It is a great place for you to not only share the amazing work, the amazing creative influence you have created, but also a way to find and connect with other people who are making the same choices you are. Our Instagram page is really set up for youth so you can connect, so you can find each other, and so you can see that other people are making the choice with you to remain substance free as they move forward throughout their high school career into college, and really wait until they are 21 to take that first drink. So we would love share on our Instagram page. We want to see all the amazing things you do. Your teacher or guidance counselor, whoever's showing this video, can also submit your work back to MADD Nebraska. We would love to see it. We would love to share it. It is amazing because we truly know that you are the best influence for each other. We know that a positive peer influence is absolutely the best influence out there. And you guys can make a difference for each other each and every day. So please share with us, share on our Instagram, or use our hashtag create the influence Nebraska or create the influence NE. And let us see what you are doing to create the influence. There's so many different projects. We are so excited to see what comes out. And ultimately, we are so excited to see you all thrive in becoming positive influencers. Um, I really thank you for your time today. I hope if you take nothing else away from this presentation, it's that you have the power. You have the power and the influence to make the choice to wait, to make the choice to live a substance free life, to make the choice that keeps you safe, that keeps your community safe. You truly have the power to do amazing things in your life. We can't wait to see what you all have in your future. You truly are our leaders. You are the generation that is going to change the world, and we can't wait to see it. We are here to support you, to empower you, and to help you be safe from the dangers that come along with underage drinking and drug use. We are here as a resource for you. We thank you for your time today. We hope you know you can reach out to us here at MADD Nebraska at any point. You can find us on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook, or you can always reach out directly to me at the MADD Nebraska State Office. My name is Sarah Draper, and my email is just sarah.draper@madd.org. We are here for you, and we can't wait to see what you all do in your future. Take care and have a wonderful day.